And definitely last but not least, I want to introduce you to our two candidates who will be running the gauntlet for us this year here in Brook, and we're very excited about their candidacy. They'll be great representatives of all of you, and we hope that you will support them by encouraging your friends and neighbors to vote for them and meet and greet with them whenever we can. If anyone you would like to hold an event or have something at your homes, we would be delighted to have those kinds of things. But Beverly Pranzatelli and Peter Lazzaro, please come up and say a few words. You go first.
Me too. We're new to this, so. Go ahead, Peter.
Oh, okay. So my name is Peter Lazzaro, and this is my wife, Judith Bailey. And thank you, Beverly and Tony, for hosting this event. And also thank you to Karen for bringing me along in this process. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having confidence in me as a competent candidate for this office.
Very excited.
And so I made a few notes because I wanted to keep it simple and brief, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have afterwards. And so, question number one, who am I and why am I here? And well, Judy, in terms of our family background, Judy is originally from Pennsylvania. Her family's in Bucks County. I'm originally a New Yorker. We met at Teachers College at Columbia University on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And how we eventually arrived at Brook is a long story that we really don't have time to go into now. However, it was back in 1994 that we bought a house on Chestnut Street. And that's 19 years ago. And we raised two children here, Rachel and Gabriel. They both went to Smalley School and then Brook High School. And today they're adults, they're out of the house, and they're doing very well. And you can't ask for more than that. So we received a lot from Brook. It's been a great place to raise a family, it's been a great place for kids. We took advantage of everything there is for families and kids in Brook and Somerset County, which was a lot, and we really enjoyed it. And actually, Gabriel was best friends with Sam Shapiro, who's the son of Joel Shapiro. So why am I doing this? Well, I'm retired. I was a school psychologist in the New York City public school system for 28 years. I retired in January 2012. I have time to give something back to the community, and I feel that's the right thing to do. So if I can contribute in some small way to the Brook Democrats, I'm happy to do that. I am a member of the United Federation of Teachers, and one thing I can say about the UFT is that they really put a lot of effort into grassroots organizing and working with the community. They work with parents. They always focus on the best interest of children. And they also have a terrific get out the vote operation. They're very sophisticated about that. But the real strength is that they develop support from the parents in the community, and that's what makes them effective. And so my background is in education and mental health services. And your question intrigued me because I have a very multicultural background. I love a multicultural environment. When we came here in 1994, and one of the main draws when people are looking for a place to live is the school system, and they look at the statistics and they look at the demographics of the population in the schools. Now back then, it was much more balanced. I knew that Brook schools did not have the best test scores around. But I also saw that it had a pretty balanced multicultural population, which I valued more than test scores. I thought that was a great thing. That's kind of an environment I wanted my kids to go to school in. However, I recently was looking at statistics on the population of the schools, and it looks like in education this is called tipping. Once you go from 50-50 to 60-40, and then it starts to tip. One ethnic group kind of takes over and the other starts to move out. And I think the Bound Brook schools have tipped. That looks like the situation to me. And I was sorry to see that. So I think that is a major issue. What you have to have in Bound Brook is great schools for everybody. People want to put their kids in these schools because they have something special to offer to everybody. And so being a retiree, I have time to work on this kind of activity. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also kind of excited about the fact that this happens to be a gubernatorial year, and you know, this Barbara Buono in Italian, she's an exciting candidate. She's supposedly a big underdog, but I love an underdog. That turns me on. So I'd kind of like to hitch my campaign onto getting out the vote for Barbara Buono. I think that's another dimension of this whole thing that I would like to work at. And Judy's still working. She's a public health inspector. She works for the county. Most of her work is in Franklin Township. And so I think that's basically it. And why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I want to say one thing before I forget because it's not in my notes. We recently started a book club. We meet on Saturday mornings at the Golden Corner Diner, 8:30, and it's political. We read political books and then discuss them. So I want to invite anybody that's interested to join us. As you all know, I'm Tony's wife. But you may not know that Tony and I are relatively newlyweds. We got married in 2005. We got married just after we moved to Bound Brook. We got married out on the back porch. And we have 3 children between us, and they are all getting college degrees this year.
Wow.
All right. Tony's been in politics for 6 years, and I have been very much involved in all of his campaigns. I've gone door to door with him, I've had coffees for him, I've made phone calls for him, I've participated in getting out the vote on election day. So I know a lot about what you need to do to campaign. And for some strange reason, I actually enjoyed it. Maybe because Tony has enjoyed it, he's taught me how to enjoy it, but I really have enjoyed it. Even last year, we went all around the county for his freeholder race, and we loved it. We got to see a lot of Somerset County that we had never seen before. We got to talk to a lot of voters, and we really had a good time. It's unfortunate he lost by 800 votes, but we really had a good time. So I know that I'm going to have a good time, and Peter is too. Now, once Tony was elected, there was a lot of opportunity to get involved in activities. And 2 of the activities I got very involved in, one was the Halloween parade, which got the Hispanic population, and we got the theater involved. We took the kids through the theater. We had somebody playing scary music, and it was just a lot of fun. Another thing I got involved with was the Riverfest. I actually am a master gardener. I had a master gardener booth there one year, and I did Obama's health care the first year. So I've gotten involved in the community. I've also started a group called the Bound Brook Beautification Brigade. And then I had hip surgery and that sort of fell apart, and I haven't really had a chance to get going because I started with Tony's window boxes and that sort of, but that's still a possibility. So if people are interested in doing some beautification in Bound Brook, one thing we worked on was the circle down by the bridge. And it really looked beautiful a couple years, but that's not even our circle. That's the county circle. They should be taking care of it, and they aren't. And I think they should get some phone calls because it looks terrible. And I think if that same circle, I think if that same circle was in Warren or Watchung, the county would be taking care of it. They would make it look nice because they would find out about it if they didn't. So I really think we need to let the county know that we're not happy with their property and the way they're maintaining it. But anyway, despite the fact that it was county property, we tried to maintain it. We tried to put some perennials in there, some stuff that would need a whole lot of water. We had trouble with water because there was not too many easy ways to get water into the circle, even though there was a firehouse right across the street. I wish we could have just had a big hose and just gone from the firehouse right over the cars and into the circle. But anyway, I know a lot of the volunteer opportunities here in Bound Brook. I know the theater is always looking for volunteers, and the theater is going to be having a fundraiser very soon, and I encourage you all to go down and support the theater and help them.
We actually have two. We have one for us, and then May 4th, one for Family and Community Services, which is over on 2nd Street. And they're more experienced at raising funds. So, but both of them, their show's going to be fun.
Yeah, so you have a website too. The theater has a website. You can go on and find out what's going on there. But I really encourage you to support it and go down and volunteer and help them out. But if anybody wants to get involved more with the community and you don't know exactly what possibilities there are, what things you can do, let me know and I'll, steer you in the right direction. And if I don't know something, I'll find somebody who does. All right. Also, because Tony's been on the council for 6 years, I have a pretty good idea what the issues are in town. Because Tony comes home from council meetings very late at night, and he cannot sleep. And I had to wake up and listen to blow by blow description of what happened. And I'm interested in what goes on in Bound Brook, so I didn't mind. Except when I was working and had to get up early, then it was sometimes a problem. But I understood how hard it is to unwind when you're so frustrated and upset and things aren't going your way, or things are going beautifully and you want somebody to know about that too. So I do have a good grasp of the issues already. Not that I want to start discussing them, but I do understand what's going on in town. I spent my entire career in the medical profession. I'm a licensed physical therapist. However, I'm also retired. And as much as I love my profession, it was very good to me. I'm very happy to be retired. I've got lots of other interests. And I really think being retired is going to benefit the community if Peter and I are elected, because we're going to have the time to do what needs to be done. And there is a lot that needs to be done. It takes a lot of time. When Tony was council president, he was probably putting in as many hours on the town as he was in his own business. So there is a lot of work to be done. And because we are retired, we can also go out and meet the public now and get to know them before the election. And we intend to do that. So being retired is actually a good thing for us. So I'm excited about running. I really love Bound Brook. I really want the opportunity to help with its growth. And I think Bound Brook is a diamond in the rough. I think we have a real jewel here, and I think we can sell it. I think we can get more developers in here. And this is the time to do it. This is the time before the economy really picks up. This is when the developers, the smart ones, the ones that still have some money left, and those are the ones we want, are looking for places like ours. First of all, our flood project is almost completely finished. We're going to be one of the few towns in New Jersey that doesn't flood. We're going to be a real jewel. And we've got a train. We've got a wonderful train. We're a transit village. We've got an excellent TOD plan. We're just really in a beautiful spot to take off. When we do take off, I want to try and maintain some of the flavor of our town. I don't really want to become a Westfield, personally. I want to be more multicultural, although I have relatives in Westfield. I think it's a beautiful town, and I think it's a well-run town. But I want to attract a multicultural environment here in Bound Brook. Not just Hispanic. I want Indian, I want Asian. I want a lot of variety. I want to do what I can to bring that in. The other thing I want to do, I want to create an arts council. Because I think a thriving arts community would be beautiful for Bound Brook. And I have a very good friend in Franklin who is on the council, and she just set up an arts council in Franklin. So I can pick her brain, I can model it after her. It's not going to cost the borough any money, except maybe for insurance or what were some of the other things their council was paying for. Buildings maybe, insurance, I'm trying to think of some of the other things. Maybe the copying machine, some paper, that sort of thing. But they're mainly a nonprofit. They were set up by the council, but they don't receive any stipend or any grant from the council. They have 3 different committees. So they're working with the literary arts, the performing arts, and the visual arts. And they have a steering committee. So the 3 committees plan events, bring them to the steering committee, and they get approval, and then they go ahead with the events. So I highly recommend, if you're interested, to try and find out when they're having different events. I know they're having a photography contest now, but you have to be a Franklin resident to participate in that. But it would still be fun to go and see what the photos are. But I'd love to start something like this in Bound Brook. We have a theater, we have a studio, a photography studio, I believe it is, right next to the theater. We have people in this town that are interested. We have somebody who's written an opera that we could put on at the theater. We might even be able to do some joint things with Franklin. But anyway, I really think that is an important objective of mine. So those are the 2 things that I've thought about so far, development and the arts, that I think Bound Brook would benefit from. But there will be other things as we move along. So that's it for me.